Standing in front of the Rojo Refine 3600, this may be the most anticipated review I've done in a long time. Many asking, is this the perfect red light therapy panel? Well, I'm gonna find out. Okay, it's massive, isn't it? To put things in perspective, this is the Rojo Refine 900, the 300 LED panel. Over here we have its giant big brother, the 3600, the 1200 LED panel. Many people have had amazing results with the smaller one, but this new beast of a panel is obviously an all-in-one. Instead of buying multiple panels and clipping them together, you can have one giant body panel. I mean, look at the size of it. I am 5'10", 178 centimeters tall, and this is full body coverage. Now, this is Rojo's second generation line of red light therapy panels. It is their Refine series, and this is because they are refining the way red light therapy is used. Not only have they now included pulsing, they have packed in a lot of new features, which I'm going to cover. And yeah, it may actually be the most revolutionary panel that we've seen in many, many years. Why is that? Well, it is the new addition of their preset smart modes, and also the ability to adjust how much energy is going to independent wavelengths. You see there are 10 inbuilt smart modes in this panel. So if you want to say treat pain or bone health or sports recovery, you can do that with a click of a button, and the panel will adjust the wavelengths, the output, and the time to create a protocol suited for that particular goal. Not only that, you can go in and create your own custom protocol and save it in the panel, which is pretty cool. The panel also now includes pulsing in the near-infrared wavelengths from 1 Hz through to 999 Hz. There is a touchscreen control system. There is an application, there are dual chip LEDs, it comes bundled with a wall mounted bracket, and they have offices and warehouses scattered all around the world, which is pretty cool because this is a beast of a panel and you ideally want local support. Now, the full size is 70 inches tall, which is 180 centimeters, by 23 inches across, which is 60 centimeters. It weighs 41 kilos, which is about 90 pounds, and it runs off one cable, one power point, no issues with circuitry or anything like that. Now, there are 1200 dual chip LEDs. You can get smaller versions of the Rojo Refine panel all the way down to the baby 60 LED panel. Now, in the new Refine series, the panels are putting out 5 wavelengths. There is meant to be 25% of the energy going to 630 nanometers, 25% going to 660, 17% going to 810, 17% going to 830, and 17% going to 850. So let's fire up the spectrometer and see if those numbers are true. Okay, so I did one quick snapshot. You can see 5 different peaks here. So there are 5 wavelengths, so that's good. Let's see if they line up. The first one is about 635, so not too far off the 630. The second one is 659, so yeah, we're bang on the 660. So remember, you're getting quite a lot of light right through from 630 through to 665 perhaps. In the near infrared, we have 3 peaks, 810, it's bang on, which is awesome. 832, so yeah, pretty much bang on. And then finally the 850. So everything matches up there, no issues. What about power? Okay, so head over to Light Therapy Insiders. You can pull up the shopping tool, look at all the data there. So as you can see on screen, the Refine 3600 was putting out an irradiance figure of 72 milliwatts over centimeter squared. This is closely aligned with the marketed number of 75, which was their spectrometer reading at 6 inches. Rojo also lists a solar meter figure of 193 milliwatts, but the spectrometer reading is much more accurate. The peak reading was 80 milliwatts, and the total power I had given its size was 670 watts. Now, these numbers are really, really good. If you look at all the panels in my database, sorted by high irradiance, you will see that it's sitting here in 18th place, which may not sound amazing, but honestly, look how close these numbers are. It is a respectable amount of power. If you rank it by total power, you'll see that it's second to the Rouge Ultimate G3, which I will talk about later on in this video, and we'll do a head-to-head comparison. I also tested the EMF levels. They were fine, and the sound level was 43.5 decibels, which is surprisingly quiet for a panel of this size. All right, so how much does all of this cost? Well, it retails for $3,700 US. Now, there is a discount code and a discount link down below. If you purchase through that link and use the code, you will save 10%, which brings the price down to $3,300. Now, there's also free worldwide shipping, which is amazing when you think about it. Remember, this is 90 pounds. It's massive. It takes 2 people to move it, unless you're super strong like me and you can try move it on your own, but it's not a fun experience. I mean, free shipping at a really low price point, really, really good. And Rojo have warehouses scattered all around the world. There's one in America, Australia, New Zealand, the UK, I believe, and yeah, France. So chances are you can get it shipped rather quickly to wherever you live. And if there are issues, then it shouldn't be too much of a hassle getting it back to them. Speaking of issues, there is a 3-year warranty and a 60-day returns period. Now, this panel also comes included with a metal wall mounting bracket, so you could screw it into the wall and hang it, though given its size, I mean, you can simply lean it. That's what I typically do, but saying that, there is a fall risk there, so you may want to use the bracket. If you want to get some other stands, there's a vertical stand for $485 or a motorized stand for about $800. Okay, so now that we know the power and the price, let's do a quick value calculation. So the value figure works out to be $5, which means you're spending $5 per 1 watt of therapeutic red light. If we look at all the data in my database and we will filter it by value, you'll see that it's actually second on the list. And this is out of 62 panels. So it's exceptional value. Not only is it in second place, third place was the first generation Rojo panel, and it's well ahead of fourth place. Fourth place being a low cost small Huga panel. So it's quite amazing. The first place panel here is an Alibaba panel that I don't even think is available anymore. So exceptional value. Remember, you're spending a really great price and you're getting 1200 LEDs. Hey, really quick, if you're enjoying this, can you hit the like button and also subscribe? You see, I do a lot of reviews like this. In fact, I'm gonna do a big comparison video where I look at this panel, the Rouge G3 Ultimate, the Block Blue Light Mega, probably throw in my Biomax quad setup as well. And I'm gonna see which of those 4 setups is the best full body red light therapy panel. Be sure to subscribe to check that out. Okay, so what do I like about the Rojo Refine 3600? Well, there's a lot. I had to print this out. First up, light coverage. When I was testing the light coverage across the panel, I had a peak reading, the highest reading I could find, of 80 milliwatts. Now, the average after taking 9 different readings was 72. So that ratio is very good. It's very close. That means that across the panel, you're getting a really nice blend of light. So that's quite amazing, especially given there are 5 wavelengths in there. It means you're not going to get hot spots or, you know, random spots where there's a lot of light and other spots where there isn't. So first pro. Secondly is the sound. This thing is quiet, especially for its size. 43.5 decibels. To put this in perspective, the Rouge Ultimate G3, which is a similar size to that, that was 56 decibels. Now 43 decibels is actually one of the quietest panels I've tested of all sizes, so quite amazing given its size. Thirdly, of course, I like the custom modes, being able to select what wavelengths and what intensities you want. Personally, it's not something that I'm going to use all of the time, but it is a nice to have feature. For instance, you may want to do a face treatment where you only want a little bit of near infrared so you can throttle that right back and then have your red lights right up. Now, I know you can do that with the Block Blue Light and the Mitre Red Light and even the Platinum LED. These features have been around for a while, but if you want to narrow it down even further and just say have a lot of 810, but no 850 and no 830, this is the first panel, or at least first panel series, where you can do that. Even better, you can save those modes. So if you do have a mode that you like to do, I don't know, after the sun, for instance, after getting sunburned, you can save that in as a custom mode. You don't have to go in and change each wavelength independently each time. So really, really cool. Of course, the preset smart modes are also another big plus. How cool is it to just go in and say bone mode, tick the box and away you go. Or muscle recovery mode or skin mode, whatever it may be. Now, of course, there are a lot of potential issues with this, and I'll address that in the cons section. I like that there's 5 wavelengths in here, including 810, and that the power is rather evenly distributed, especially because these wavelengths do have a lot of credibility behind them. The pulsing's there if you're into that. It is only near infrared, but I think that's fine. Having a touchscreen is now a must-have with these new premium red light therapy panels, so it's good to have that in there. Likewise with the app. It's not a must-have, but it is definitely a nice-to-have, especially because with this app you can change all the smart modes and those custom modes. It's a lot easier doing it on your phone. Dual chip LEDs is another plus. The free international shipping is another huge plus. And the power output is decent as well. Sure, it's not as crazy high as some of the platinum LED panels, but still, this is a really powerful panel, especially if you compare this to panels of like 2 or 3 years ago. This would have been market leading then. And I think we are at a point now where anything above, say, 50, 60 milliwatts, maybe all we need, especially when it comes to full body treatment. Sure, there are situations where you need a lot of power into one particular area, say a joint, but I think for full body, yeah, I mean 70, 80 milliwatts, it's plenty of light. Okay, now there's 2 big things I really like about this panel. First up is the size. I mean, it's massive. This is one panel that does it at all. Well, not really all. It does half of my body at least. The cool thing is I can stand in front of this, have full shoulder to shoulder coverage, head to toe coverage. I can do 5-10 minutes on one side, turn around 5-10 minutes on the other side, job done. I have been doing this with my Biomax quad setup. The downside with that is you have a big beam through the middle and across the center where you aren't getting much light coverage. So not only does it address that issue, it's also just one panel. I mean, it's one box, it's one cable, it's one control screen. Plus it looks really epic. Secondly is value. Well, price and value. You can get this for $3,300 US shipped to your door. It's extraordinary, really. Again, to put this in perspective, the Rouge Ultimate was about $5,000. Might Red Light have some panels, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. If you get the Biomax quad setup, you're looking at $4,000 odd. So to get one panel for under $4,000, it's amazing. And then when you factor in the power output and the price, it has one of the best value metrics I've tested in all my years reviewing red light therapy panels. Okay, so there's a lot to like, huh? But it's not perfect. First up, this touchscreen. Yes, it's great, but it's just too small, and you need to be very precise with the buttons and scrolling, especially in the pulsing setting. I don't like it. For the amount of settings that you can tap into in this panel, the control screen is just far too small. I mean, even the Platinum LED Biomax control screen is a lot larger than this, and you don't have to do as many things on it. It's a shame it's not maybe another inch or 2 bigger. Saying that, you can do everything through the app, which is, of course, easier. Secondly, there are question marks about the smart modes. How accurate are these modes? Is the bone health mode really beneficial for bone health? Likewise with muscle recovery. I know I get asked this all the time. How should I use my panel for this particular goal? And I don't really know. I'm starting to get a rough idea, like for skin health, for instance. We've taken a deep dive into that. Check out my video if you want to know more about dosing for skin health. But even then, there's quite a wide range of what the research shows to be beneficial. So you do have to wonder how accurate these modes are, how much time actually went into researching them. I know the scientific community hasn't even settled on dosing mode. So you have to wonder, is it just a bit of a marketing play, or is there substance to go behind it? Secondly, though it's marketed as a way to simply use red light therapy, it can add some confusion. Let's say you did a very physical trick one day and you rolled your ankle and you got really sunburned. You come home, do you want to use the skincare mode, or do you want to use the joint mode, or the muscle recovery mode, or do you use all of them? It can get a little bit confusing. Maybe we're just better off doing the 5-10 minutes each side and don't overcomplicate it. It is a valid point. Still though, I guess you don't have to use those modes. I also wish that the smart modes displayed what was happening. You can open up the manual and see the breakdown of every smart mode, what wavelengths are running, at what intensity and what time, but it would be nice seeing all of that on the screen if you don't have the manual with you, or at least in the app. There's also no included remote. I know it does have the app, but sometimes a remote is just handy to have, even if it's just an on-off button. And then finally, I guess I have to criticize its size. I know it's like a massive plus, but it's also a downside. If you live in, say, an apartment or a villa where you got to go up 2 or 3 flights of stairs, you're going to need a few people to get this up there. If you're moving around a lot, it is going to be a bit of a pain in the bum. It's very heavy, it's very bulky. Saying that, once you have it in place, it's a beautiful machine to run. Now, there's one other thing I need to mention. You see, the Rojo 3600 is a very powerful device. And if you look at the tech specs on the website, you will see that it has quite a high amperage rating, in particular for countries with 110 volts. Now, this isn't an issue for countries with 220 volts, but if you're in a country like America that has a 110 volt system, the Rojo 3600 is meant to draw 17.6 amps. Now, there's an issue here. You see, most standard power points are only rated to 15 amps, meaning a device that's rated above 15 amps just simply won't work, or it will trip a circuit. Now, houses typically have some 20 amp plugs. This is for appliances such as ovens. However, most of the plugs are only rated for the 15 amps. So there could be a situation where you buy this large panel and it doesn't work. I reached out to the owner of Rojo Therapy Lights to ask about this, and he said, yes, those specs are correct. However, they haven't heard of anyone in America who has purchased one of these panels and found it didn't work on a regular PowerPoint. So, buyer beware. I would say reach out to Rojo yourself before buying one, just to make sure. Otherwise, you may find you have to get an electrician in to make sure it works on your plug. Okay, so is this the perfect all-in-one red light therapy panel? Well, to be honest, it's very, very close to it. Amazing price, decent power, has some really unique, novel features, free shipping, good warranty. I mean, what's not to like about it? Actually, one thing I forgot to mention in the cons section was it only has 5 wavelengths. Now, I know if you compare this to some other panels, 5 is a lot better than the 2 or 3 or 4, but it doesn't have any of these unique wavelengths we're seeing. So there's no blue light, there's no amber, there's no 1060. Saying that, I don't think that necessarily is a deal breaker. Overall, I mean, if this was the only panel I could have for the next 5 years or so, yeah, I'd be more than happy with it. Looks good, runs good, lots of options in there, exceptional price point, good coverage, has the app. Yeah, it's really, really good. But I always say in these reviews, before you rush out and buy this, make sure you shop around. Use the Light Therapy Insider's shopping tool guide. Check out my other videos. Otherwise, I'll give you a quick comparison to some other panels. First up is the Rouge G3 Ultimate. Similar size, 1200 LEDs. That panel actually puts out more power than this, but it only has 2 wavelengths, 660 and 850. It's also a lot more expensive and doesn't have free shipping. Check out the review if you want to know more about that. You could also look at the Pro RLT line. This is Mitre Red Light's commercial line. Their panels are very heavy duty. You're getting quite a range of wavelengths. Some of them have the amber in there, which is quite attractive. Again, though, you're going to spend a lot more money than this, so something to think about. Well, the other option is you get 4 Biomax 900s, clip them all together. You're going to get 7 wavelengths there, more power than this. Really nice control system, apps, and a remote control. Lots of stand options. However, it does mean you're going to run multiple cables and you're going to have that blank cross through the center of the panel. Plus, it's still going to cost more than it would to get this particular panel. There's lots of options out there. Check out all my videos or leave a comment down below. Otherwise, check out this video right here for more.